Good evening and many thanks for joining us. I am Ansman Eswenyasi and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Carava Avenue. Here are the main news headlines. The Gambia has received a $6.66 million loan from the International Monetary Fund after the successful completion of the Extended Credit Facility Program. The police revealed on Friday that a Gambian man is currently in custody for allegedly producing and possessing huge amounts of counterfeit monies in various currencies and denominations. The Gambia has maintained its Tier 2 rank in the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report released by the U.S. Department of State on Thursday. In international news, today the 17th of June is International Day of Family Remittances, which recognizes the contributions of migrants to improve the lives of their families back home. And in sports news, a charity march for artists, TV and radio presenters and online entertainers, including TikTokers, to raise awareness on mental health was held on Sunday at Q City. Stay tuned for more on these and other stories. The Gambia has received a $6.6 million loan from the International Monetary Fund after the successful completion of the Extended Credit Facility Program to help meet the country's financing needs, address the repercussions of the war in Ukraine, and support the post-pandemic recovery. Julian Jai reports.
The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has completed the sixth and the final review under the Gambia's Extended Credit Facility (ECF) arrangement. The successful completion of the review enables the disbursement of about $6.66 million to help meet the country's balance of payments and physical financing needs amid challenges related to primarily to the war in Ukraine and the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. This brings the total disbursement under the ECF arrangements to about $94 million. Speaking to journalists in a press conference on Friday, C.D. Cater, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, explained some of the things the program was anchored on.
The program is also anchored with other reforms such as the public procurement. This is the GPPA revised act, which will now introduce the electronic procurement opportunity for government transactions to be done online, as well as the reform of the state-owned enterprises, which is the SOE bill, as well, and the Gambian population witnessed us signing the performance contract with state-owned enterprises, 3 of them, and we are yet to sign with additional 3 or 4 before the end of the year. We have also, as a country, engaged the fund on a country diagnostic study, which was geared towards identifying the vulnerabilities to the corruption and identifying ways and means to improve governance, accountability, so as to ensure public sector financial management enhancement and improvement.
Buhar Saidi, the governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, says the only grant the Gambia has from the IMF is the debt relief of $11 million.
Under this ECF program, the access limit for the Gambia was the most, $213 million US. Previous programs, the maximum access was $24.88 million US. Like you asked and I've answered, except the debt relief of $11 million, all others were loans. We also, under this ECF program, we got ECF disbursements, $95 million US, emergency funding, $21 million. This was during the COVID-19 in 2020. And there was a general SDR allocation for all members of the fund. And Gambia got 75.55 million SDRs.
Mr. Saidi says the loan has 0 interest with a grace period of 5 years and the loan replacement period is 10 years. Yankuba Dabo, the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, highlights some of the initiatives the authority will roll out to increase revenue collection.
In addition to all that, we have other reforms that are put forward by the IMF for us to use as a benchmark. For example, coming up with taxpayers' charter, which is part of the benchmark we should produce within a period, and then launch, which has been done since last year. And another conditionalities that we need to do is the creation of internal affairs within the institution, which means that there has to be a unit that will be responsible for the integrity of the staffs and the conduct of the staffs of the GRA.
Following the Executive Board discussion, Mr. Boli, Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair, stated that the Gambia's performance under the economic program supported by the Extended Credit Facility has been broadly satisfactory, despite challenges related to the war in Ukraine, the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, major flooding, and trade disruptions. Mr. Lee said despite the pressures, fiscal policy remains appropriately anchored on the approved 2023 budget. Mr. Lee further stated that given the high debt vulnerabilities, the government should continue to bolster domestic revenue mobilization and prioritize investment projects. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
Now, the police revealed on Friday that a Gambian man is currently in custody for allegedly producing and possessing huge amounts of counterfeit monies in various currencies and denominations. More in this report. The suspect, a resident of Tujereng, is alleged to have committed an economic crime that attracts a severe penalty, namely producing and possessing counterfeit currency. He was arrested following a tip-off by a woman working at a bureau de change, who reported to police after becoming suspicious that the cash presented by the suspect was counterfeit. The officer commanding the fraud unit of the Gambia Police Force, Chief Superintendent Buba Sise, explains how the suspect was arrested.
It was on the 12th of June, that was on Monday, that the CID officers at Bakote Police Station received a complaint from one Khadija Tujalo that there is somebody there was at the time somebody in the bureau that presented fake, suspected fake counterfeits, and then they want the police to help. The police officers at Bakote went to the bureau because the suspect was locked in the bureau after the complainant, who was Khadija, who suspected that the money brought was a counterfeit. So the police went to the scene, and then the suspect was arrested. When he was arrested, he was found with some other counterfeit notes that were suspected to be forged at an amount of 1,500 when he was searched on the spot.
Following his arrest, police investigators searched his house in Tujereng, where they recovered huge sums of counterfeit cash in various currencies and denominations.
Further search was conducted at his premises in Tujereng, and this is where a whole bunch of monies were found. In his possession, in his house, they found $55,200 suspected counterfeit notes in 150 and 50, 20, and 10 denominations. There was also 201,800 Swiss francs in 1,200 denominations. $15,000 in 200 denominations, 200 British pounds in 50 denominations, and 3 yuan. I suppose that is Japanese yuan. So he was arrested, taken to the station where he was further interrogated, and then he confessed to the crime and disclosed or revealed that he was the one that actually made this money.
The suspect allegedly told investigators he is not literate but gets help from an accomplice. His alleged accomplice is also in custody and has since confessed to using his printing machine to assist the main suspect to print various counterfeit currencies.
Further to that, the suspect revealed that actually he has not been to school, he's not educated. But then there was one Abdullah Jata who was helping him to do the printing. Abdullah, actually, when the police went for him, they found the said printing machine or the photocopier in his business premises, the photocopier that was used to make the money. it is still not confirmed as to whether there are other accomplices, even though there are claims that there are other people that, initiated the idea, because the idea was not, basically from the suspect.
Meanwhile, Deputy Police PRO Cadet ASP Mohamed Waidabo calls on the public to remain vigilant and report any suspected criminals. And while investigations are ongoing, the police are also asking anyone with information regarding this suspected counterfeit case to share with investigators by reporting to the nearest police station. Answana Sonyasi for KTV News. The Gambia has maintained its Tier 2 rank in the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report released by the U.S. Department of State on Thursday. The Trafficking in Persons report assesses anti-trafficking efforts of 188 governments, including the Gambia. Alusise tells us more.
Maintains the Gambia in the second tier after assessing the country as not fully meeting the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking in persons set forth in the Trafficking Victims Protection Act TVPA of 2000. However, a Tier 2 ranking means a country is making significant efforts to do so. Human trafficking represents a threat to international peace and security as it undermines the rule of law, robs millions of their dignity and freedom, enriches transnational criminals and terrorists, and threatens public safety and national security everywhere. According to a statement from the U.S. Embassy Banjul office and as published on the U.S. State Department website, Tier 2 consists of countries that are making significant efforts to meet the minimum standards but fail to provide evidence of increasing efforts to combat human trafficking over the previous year, including increased investigations, prosecutions, and convictions of trafficking crimes, increased assistance to victims, and decreasing complicity in trafficking by government officials, or where the estimated number of victims is very significant or significantly increasing and the country is not taking proportional concrete actions. Countries assessed as fully meeting the TVPA's minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking are placed on Tier 1, while those assessed as not fully meeting the minimum standards and not making significant efforts to do so are ranked Tier 3. While he acknowledged the gains registered in ending trafficking in persons, U.S. State Secretary Antony Blinken believes there is still more to be done. He said the U.S. is committed to stronger cooperation with governments, survivor leaders, and NGOs to ensure survivors have access to the services they need to rebuild their lives. The TIP report narrative contains prioritized recommendations for the government of the Gambia to consider implementing over the coming year. These recommendations constitute a suggested action plan that aims to provide the government with guidance on key efforts necessary to better meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking in persons. The Gambia's ranking is a testament to the hard work of all members of the anti-trafficking community. The Gambia and the United States will continue to find ways to collaborate in the fight to end human trafficking. Cindy Dyer, the U.S. ambassador at large, said getting rid of these sophisticated traffickers required harnessing the available resources and tools to address these complex crimes. The Gambia is joined on Tier 2 by other African countries such as Ghana, Cabo Verde, Kenya, Liberia, Nigeria, and Senegal, among others. Human trafficking is a shared challenge. In the United States, human trafficking cases have been reported in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories. In the spirit of transparency and with a goal of strengthening efforts at home and in partnership with other countries, the TIP report contains a tier ranking and narrative of U.S. efforts to address human trafficking. This assessment evaluates the United States according to the same standards as other countries. The TIP report has included the United States every year since the 2010 report. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alusise.
And the report there by Alusise will lead us to the commercial break. But when we return, we have a look at international and sports news. Don't go away.
Okay. buso be bul ko do faare ko ni ka ko
ko ba salun jata ay ko do kenya nan na do ko do kamaja je sa ni na fo ko de furi hey ngai ko do bala kana falina akoy damale be je ni may sama no ngatu je atata falina
Assalamu alaikum. Baru. Kota. Ni ko do ta jant. Yo ni bari ko do man beda. Ni ta ko di kendo re dila. Ni ko do man beda jibe, ko do fam jibe, jol jibe be faram faram. Fayla. Ni jibe ya ja. Man beda ya. Iba falin nale. Central Bank ye memfo. Inal toliye yal safe ye memfali al yalon. Iko clean note policy. Kodi kendo al kalmol jowala. Nim kodi furi ngo kodi fundo al kamol sigal ka di mol. Amam betea ibe nyi mutalal e kodi kendo di ni wote. Memba kunna tolete yalon bita Central Bank. Andu memba kunna tol e kana van doleta de bole. So janno bebe tarraje kodo mutaya.
Munega tawolantele yalon ko e nyanta kodi kendo di
ñina mu siloti men ñanta kake alkali al luwaye men fo alkali barawona ko di kendo alkali waldi mol alyama
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mun a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun Inco fii leen day jëndee suñu bagage yi Inco lañ yombalee bagage yi dañ over baax quality bagage lañ lay jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boobu jiwi Inco fii leen lay ñëw brika moom mooy jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci stand Serekunda fii waaye fii leen lay ñëwee bagage dina bagage lu waral loolu Inco dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ over baax dañ over quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër.
Because Inco mo fene dila bagage quality sa guarantee bi dila bagage nya sa nimi sa tije imita fe mo min na Inco ma soto janga man Gambia janga ma soto folo den nga ñew ma koy akolera nya wonyandi be nga wuli nga na Inco nga bagage sa
seet si leen ñu si suñ maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jinpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Birkama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice. Inco.
Welcome back. Following the commercial break, be reminded you're watching QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I'm Ansmane Sonyasi. And now on to some international news in a moment. Now, today, the 16th of June, is International Day of Family Remittances, which recognizes the contributions of migrants to improve the lives of their families back home. More in this report.
This day recognizes the contributions of over 200 million migrants to improve the lives of their 800 million family members back home. This year's theme focuses on the benefits that digital and financial inclusion bring when linked to remittances, in helping remittance families achieve their own SDGs. The day is also used to call to action governments, private sector entities, as well as the civil society to find ways that can maximize the impact of remittances through individual and or collective actions. Remittances have contributed to poverty alleviation efforts and increased school enrollment in different countries. Research has revealed that these inflows of income can help recipient households become resilient, especially in the face of disasters. During the 6th Take in the Nation Forum, the Gambia's Minister of Finance, C.D. Keita, revealed that due to the significant improvement in data collection by the Central Bank of the Gambia, the country is now recognized as one of the highest recipients of remittances per capita in the world. The Gambia's remittance inflow increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the country's biggest challenge was the inability to take full advantage of these inflows because of a large share is sent through informal or unregistered mechanisms. This meant remittance service providers need to digitalize the process, make it easier and faster. This has improved due to multiple outlets now competing. Considering the significant contribution of the diaspora, the government of the Gambia has been devising innovative ways to engage them. The Gambia government over a year ago introduced a diaspora mentorship program to promote skills and knowledge transfer to government institutions and make best use of the know-how of Gambian professionals in the diaspora. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Let's now have a look at sports news. A charity march for artists, TV and radio presenters and online entertainers, including TikTokers, was held on Sunday at Q City. The march was organized by Choi Entertainment to encourage participants to use their fame to raise awareness of mental health issues. More in this report. Mental health remains a major challenge in the Gambia and receives less attention and support compared to other health issues. To help raise awareness and support for persons with mental health challenges, Choi Entertainment, a music and arts promotional group founded by Miss Ami Choi, organized several football matches between some of the most followed Gambian musicians, presenters and online entertainers. The aim is to encourage them to use their platforms to raise awareness of mental health. It is also organized to promote unity and collaboration between stakeholders in the entertainment industry. Organizer Ami Choi says it is important to support those with mental health. Hence the reason for organizing this charity march, and she urges everyone, especially entertainers, to use their platforms to raise awareness about mental health.
The mental health, because
it is important that we always remember people dealing with mental health issues. We all have duty to protect, support and care for them. This is why I brought these people together. They all have platforms that are widely followed, so I hope that they will use their platforms to support people with mental health.
Popular artist Nyancho and YouTuber Rilwan Jago, popularly known as Black Max, also spoke about the need for more sensitization about mental health and called on their fans to support such initiatives. Initiatives like this should be supported by all because it brings us all together. Also, this gives us an opportunity to reflect on what I consider to be a very important issue, mental health. We all have a role to play to make sure our people suffering from mental health don't lack anything. Let us show them love, care for them and provide their needs.
Put support a Gambian sister, and I feel like I'm a sister. Also, organized law hamne dafa important. Which is mental health. It's a charity march. At first, I'm not that person who goes out and this type of events because like my work is just at home, so I'm always indoors. But when I had this thing, I was like, you know what, it's for Gambia. Bamanyo must support a Gambian sister, and also she's doing it for a good cause. And after all these things, it's going back to the mental health.
Of the 3 matches played, 2 were particularly entertaining. The first being the match between YouTubers and Twitter entertainers, which ended in a goalless draw. Unlike the first match, TikTokers against artists went to penalties following a goalless draw. However, the second match produced an entertaining encounter, with QTV's Churchill Balder scoring the only goal of the game following a beautiful exchange of passes. He also echoed calls for more support for mental health patients.
We see a lot of things going on, and we want to change the narratives. We want to make an impact. We've seen the needy, we've seen the poor, we've seen the less privileged, and this initiative is geared towards helping them.
Organizers hope that performers in the arts industry will be inspired to use their platforms to raise awareness on mental health and encourage their fans to offer more support to mental health patients. Ansman Esonyansi for KTV News. And I'm afraid this is where we draw the curtains on this bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. The Gambia has received a $6.66 million loan from the International Monetary Fund after the successful completion of the Extended Credit Facility Program. The police revealed on Friday that a Gambian man is currently in custody for allegedly producing and possessing huge amounts of counterfeit monies in various currencies and denominations. The Gambia has maintained its Tier 2 rank in the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report released by the U.S. Department of State on Thursday. In international news, today, the 16th of June, is International Day of Family Remittances, which recognizes the contributions of migrants to improve the lives of their families back home. And in sports news, a charity march for artists, TV and radio presenters and online entertainers, including TikTokers, to raise awareness of mental health was held on Sunday at Q City. Well, that's all we have for you in this bulletin. Do join us tomorrow, same time, for more news. Thanks for watching.